We have multiple surprising updates to discuss on this episode of Islanders Digest, including an emergency call-up after an injury to one of the Islanders' star players turned out to be more serious than initially anticipated. This is going to have major implications on the remainder of the season as the Islanders try to push to have the best draft position as possible, and that starts today against the New York Rangers. But before we get into all that, be sure to subscribe to the channel, be one of our first 100 subscribers. If you're an Islanders fan and you want more Islanders content just like this, subscribe because this is the channel for you. Now, after the previous game against the Nashville Predators, it looks like Ilya Sorokin had tweaked something and he would probably be back the next game. It turns out Ilya Sorokin was not at practice today, so Ilya Sorokin will not be playing tonight against the New York Rangers, as it appears like his injury was more serious than we were initially led to believe by Patrick Waugh. Now, this isn't too concerning. I mean, there aren't too many games left in the season, and as we know, the Islanders are almost mathematically eliminated. Their tragic number, I believe, is 3, so if Montreal gets 3 points and the Islanders lose a game or so, it's over. It's pretty much looking like it is over for the New York Islanders' playoff chances. If you look at Money Puck, their odds are under 1%. It's pretty much over for this season, so that's not too much of a concern. I don't think Ilya Sorokin is too badly injured. We'll get into more details about that. But for now, that means Tristan Lennox has been emergency called up. The rest of the lineup is going to be the same in this game against the Rangers. A game which I never thought I would say. I kind of hope the Rangers win. And yes, I am a huge Islander fan. No, I do not want to see the Islanders lose to the Rangers. But in terms of draft position, as we're going to talk about after we talk a little bit about this call-up, this is a big deal for the Islanders, and a win against the Rangers can really flip their draft positions. And as much as I would hate to watch the Rangers sweep the Islanders this season, I would hate it so much more if they flip draft positions, the Rangers pick a player that I want in this year's draft, and then he becomes a star and I have to watch about it for years and years and years. Draft position is important, especially for the Islanders, and if they're going to get this retool right, they're going to have to hit on this pick, so every position moving forward helps. Patrick Waugh did share an update on Ilya Sorokin getting back on track here, and it is a lower body injury. This is what I was kind of hinting to before, where while the injury is more serious than first anticipated, I think this is good news, especially for the Islanders and Ilya Sorokin. We know last season Ilya Sorokin, we didn't know when we would get him back to start this year because he had back surgery during the offseason. It turned out he was ready to start when the season started. But, with back surgery, you always get nervous. I was nervous when it was an upper body injury that he could have maybe tweaked his back. While we don't know what this injury is, it is a lower body injury. So that kind of relieves my concerns a little bit. We don't know if Ilya Sorokin will be back for the season. And again, that might sound a little concerning at first, but remember, there's only 5 games left, including tonight. Really, there's only one more week of the season. So if that means that Sorokin is day-to-day and just might not return for the rest of the season, that's not too concerning. And honestly, getting Sorokin out of the net for these last 5 games makes sense anyway, and will definitely help the Islanders and their potential draft position, which we'll get into at the end of the video. A loss to the Rangers and losing out for the rest of the season, or losing 4 out of 5, can really help the Islanders potentially land the best pick they possibly can to improve this team sooner. Getting a 7th pick instead of an 11th pick, they might both be good players, but maybe that 7th pick is the difference between that player coming to play for the Islanders in 2 seasons rather than 3. And for us fans who do not want to go through a lengthy rebuild, especially knowing how rebuilds have gone for the Islanders in the past, that is definitely important. I also want to talk about Lennox is the emergency call-up. We likely will see Lennox in a game if Ilya Sorokin cannot come back. We do have a back-to-back coming up, and Lennox is definitely an encouraging story for the Islanders. This is a goalie they picked in the 3rd round a few seasons ago, has really struggled with injury. We're going to talk about his stats right now. Also going to quickly mention what we've lost with Ilya Sorokin, because it has been a rough year for him, but I do think fans have been a little too harsh. But first, really want to talk about Lennox, because this is a player who's only played 4 games for Bridgeport Islanders, so I know these stats are not going to look good. 833 is not good, but considering it's 4 games, it's not as bad, and we know the Bridgeport Islanders are not a great team. But the reason why he's only played 4 games is not because he's not been good enough or anything like that. It's because this is a player who has been out with injury for a while. Apparently, he had knee surgery. Sounds pretty serious, but it is encouraging that he is back on the ice this season. And if we do get to see him in one of these games, it can be cool to see how he looks. This is a prospect the Islanders were very high on when they drafted in the 3rd round. Goalies tend to not go too early in the draft, so picking a goalie in the 3rd round, while you don't think he's going to be an elite goaltender, you definitely have some high hopes for the goaltender if you're picking him in the 3rd round. Granted, although he's only 22, I think he has been surpassed in the depth chart, especially by Gedoff and Gamzin, just because of this injury. And it'll be interesting to see if he can kind of pull himself together to be a decent goalie prospect, because that can have value, especially if the Islanders then have 3 solid goalie prospects. You can consider trading one, which is always good when you have a surplus of anything. Goaltender he is replacing is Ilya Sorokin. Can't state enough how important Ilya Sorokin has been this season. He's probably been the MVP of the Islanders. I know the Islanders did not make the playoffs, but if they were going to be able to push into a spot, it would have been because of Ilya Sorokin and his strong play. I don't think a .905 save percentage really tells the full story of this season. In fact, save percentage is also down this year, so a .905 is still pretty decent for this season. Not Ilya Sorokin's A game, but also the Islanders' defense has been so rough this season, and because of all the injuries on forward, they've been spending a lot more time in the defensive zone, and that adds up to more high-quality chances. I mean, so many goals that are just backdooring Ilya, nothing he can do. Hopefully this injury is not too serious and we can kind of enjoy losing a few games here just to get the Islanders draft position to be as high as possible. And I definitely think Ilya probably would have stolen a game or 2 here down the stretch. Likely would have tried to steal this Ranger game against his friend Igor Shesterkin. So at the very least, this could help the tank for the last week. We're going to talk about that right now with how far the Islanders can fall. Right now, if you're looking at the standings, they have the 12th pick. Realistically, we want the Islanders drafting in the top 10. And a Rangers win against the Islanders here, as you can see, they are tied in points, but the Rangers have played one more game, would go a monumental length towards making sure the Islanders have a top 10 pick. Not only would that improve the Islanders' chances of having a top 10 pick, it improves the chances of the Islanders winning the lottery while also decreasing the Rangers' chances of winning the lottery. I know it sounds crazy to say I want the Rangers to win this game, but we've seen how terrible it is when they win the lottery. They have a knack for winning these lotteries. Want to give them the lowest chances they can possibly have for that. And in addition, with the Islanders also playing Columbus at the end of the season, if Sorokin's not playing these games, there is an increased chance the Islanders will lose these games, which can move them further down the draft order. Right now, with a loss to the Rangers and perhaps a loss to the Blue Jackets, they are almost guaranteed to be at 10. But in addition to that, if the Ducks play a few solid games here, the Sabres are also right on our tail. I can see the Islanders sinking as low as 8, maybe 7. I don't think the Ducks, Sabres, and Penguins will all have strong seasons down the stretch. In fact, with the Penguins playing 79 games, the only way this would happen is if the Penguins win out and the Islanders lose out. We never know, but at this point in the season, while it's not great to see, we love to see the Islanders win, some losses can really go a long way towards improving this team in the future and really helping this team take the medicine that they are so reluctant to take. Now, Islander fans, this game against the Rangers might not be the most exciting game. We know the Rangers are out of playoffs. Islanders are not looking good either. So, if this game does fall out of hand really quickly, especially with how Hogberg played in the previous game and the Rangers take a big lead, perhaps it's not as interesting, there is another game of note to watch tonight that Islander fans definitely should be paying attention to. That is Penn State versus Boston University. It's today, 8:30. I think it's on ESPN+. And if you watch this game, you have a chance to watch Cole Eisman play in the Frozen Four, and also Camille Bendarek, who is another Islanders prospect who does have some high potential, drafted in the second round. You have a chance to see them both play and really show how they play in a high-stakes situation. So I'm definitely excited for this. Go Terriers. I'm really excited to see if Cole Eisman can pull up another huge game because he has been so good in these games that matter. That being said, let me know what you think about this whole situation. Are you concerned about this Ilya Sorokin injury news? Are you excited to see Lennox? And are you rooting for the Islanders today? Or are you kind of hoping the Rangers beat us and force us to take our medicine in terms of draft capital? Love to know your thoughts in the comments. As always, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm Patrick Nilan. Let's go Islanders.